The earth is flat and motionless.
God is so good. I'm so glad to be out of the house, girl. In the house all summer. Woo! I can get out now. Let your hair blow in the wind. What you do? My wings. What happened to me? What happened? Oh my God. We gotta go back and get my hair. Get your wig right back on. I thought I had it on tight. The wig just came off. Oh, heck no. I just licked my eye. I looked up and her hair was I want my hair. Right now. Can we go back and get my hair? I'm like, that is probably roadkill.
My dear friends, since we were very young, we have been educated in the public schools into the belief that the earth spins on its axis just as we see this globe here spinning. And yet, none of us have ever felt anything. As we just saw these ladies, and they were driving on a convertible car, and one of them lost her wing because she was moving forward and the wind blowing over her had made her wig fly away. So she lost her wig due to the speed which she was moving forward. So we are supposed to be spinning not just around the axis of the earth, but around the sun and across the galaxy, as this person here explains.
That the surface of the earth is rotating around the center at about 1,700 kilometers per hour at the equator. Earth is also moving around the sun at around 30 kilometers per second. The entire solar system moves around the galactic center at 20 kilometers per second, and the Milky Way galaxy is moving through the universe at about 230 kilometers a second.
So I constantly get messages like this by people trying to tell me how the earth is moving and we don't feel. Look at what this person says. Imagine that you are in a car that's moving 100 miles an hour. You are inside the car and you light a cigarette. The smoke will rise straight upwards. You can go as fast as you can, but inside the car, the smoke will always rise upwards. It's the same thing with the planet. The earth moves, but the atmosphere moves with it. So this person is trying to tell me that we don't feel anything because the atmosphere is moving along the rotation of the earth. They constantly fail to explain how is this atmosphere contained within around the earth, because they normally give me examples of, for example, the cigarette is being contained inside the car. You have the windshield, you have the side windows and the roof of the car. So you are contained inside the car. But what's contained in this atmosphere? We normally see rockets going, they say going to space and coming back, going out and in. And what's the barrier containing this atmosphere here?
Imagine you are sitting in a moving train. You toss a ball into the air and catch it.
As we see here, she's giving an example of a person inside a bus throwing this ball up and the ball falling down in his hand. But again, the bus you have here, it's the person is contained inside this bus where you have a metal roof, thick glass windows, you have the windshield here. So this person is contained inside this bus, and everything being contained, so it doesn't really affect if the ball goes up or down. But as we saw, again, let's look at the example of the lady and the wig.
God is so good. I'm so glad to be out of the house, girl. In the house all summer. Woo! I can get out now. Let your hair blow in the wind. What you do? My wings. What happened to me? Oh my God. We gotta go back and get my hair. Get your wig right back on. I thought I had it on tight. The wig just
So somehow they want us to believe that the Earth is performing these three movements: running, spinning around itself, around its axis, and then spinning around the sun, as we see in this illustration here, in this animation. At the same time, when the sun is shooting through the universe, all three movements at the same time, millions of miles per hour, and we don't feel anything. And the lady is just driving the car down the road and loses her wig, and they want us to believe that we don't feel anything because somehow the atmosphere is velcro to the air is velcro to the earth. They don't explain how it's done, but again, going back to the bus, they showed us like someone tossing the ball up and down, but remembering that the bus is somehow pretty much sealed. You have the roof of the bus, you have the side, the front windshield, the front glass, and the side. So you can do many things inside the bus, although you will still feel some movement. Yeah. Okay. Same thing if you were inside a train. I have taken this train here in Japan quite often, the famous bullet train. And the same thing happens when you are inside an airplane. You can throw things, up and down, and it still will fall in your hands. But remember that only because you are contained inside that environment. You have a metal roof many times, sealed everywhere, especially in the case of an airplane where there is pressurization. And now what happens if some of this pressurization escapes? What happens? So let's look at two examples in aviation where there were depressurization during a flight. And let's see the consequences. Let's look at these two flights. Aloha Airlines Flight 243.
A 737 loses a giant chunk of fuselage mid-flight, causing a decompression so powerful it kills a flight attendant.
I saw what I think was the stewardess's feet as she was being sucked out of the plane.
A textbook example, April 28, 1988, when a 737 famously lost part of its fuselage in midair. 1:30 p.m., Aloha Airlines Flight 243 takes off on its 9th inter-island hop of the day. The flight from Hilo to Honolulu should last just 35 minutes. But this 19-year-old Boeing 737 has a major problem. Growing cracks in its skin that are visible, yet they've gone undetected. As the 737 climbs through 24,000 feet, the cabin pressurizes and the skin of the plane expands just as it's supposed to. But something else expands too, those cracks in the 737's fuselage. Suddenly, there's an explosive decompression. Its force is so powerful, a flight attendant is sucked out of the plane. An 18-foot section of the plane is gone. Passengers sitting nearby can see the sky above and the ocean below. All that's holding the 737 together, and just barely, are the floor beams and the plane's belly structure.
Hello, 243, can you give me your tolls on board and your fuel on board?
We, 86.5 from your.
Roger, how many do you think are injured?
We have no idea. We can stay with our flight attendant.
Okay, we'll have ambulance on the way.
Miraculously, the pilots managed to safely land the plane.
It doesn't seem to make any difference how many times we've seen it today. It is still amazing. An airliner with its fuselage ripped away in midair, and all but one aboard survived. It happened over Hawaii.
Now, this is what happened when Aloha Airlines Flight 243 lost part of its fuselage. One flight attendant was sucked out of the airplane, and nobody would really remain there if they were not with their seatbelts on, because they were flying, they were moving forward, but they have lost the protection that was protecting them from the winds outside. So no longer nobody there could throw any ball up and fall into their hands, because that would not be possible. They were not contained anymore. Now let's look at another example, very similar to Aloha 243, is United Flight 811. Let's look at this one. United Flight 811.
A 747 is flying over the Pacific when suddenly a cargo door explodes open, sucking 9 passengers out of the plane.
It went from a perfectly normal, calm, serene situation to absolute pandemonium.
But for the passengers of this unlucky flight, that trust is about to be shaken when a cargo door explodes open in midair. These dramatic animations put you next to the plane as the forward right cargo door rips open in flight, slams upward, creating a gaping hole in the fuselage, and then falls from the plane. The resulting massive depressurization sucks out 2 rows of seats and 9 passengers. The structural integrity of the main deck has failed extensively. There's a 10 by 15 foot hole in the fuselage, and debris has been sucked into both engines on that side. The inboard number 3 engine is pulsing fire. Number 4 is also failing. The pilot begins a rapid descent to an altitude where passengers can breathe normally. Then, out of nowhere, there's a sudden glimmer of hope.
I remember seeing a number of the passengers on the right side pointing to the windows. And if you looked out the window, you could see there were lights. There were the lights of Honolulu, there were lights of Hawaii, and we could see land.
After 20 nerve-wracking minutes, United Flight 811 touches down in Honolulu.
A cheer, like a roller coaster ride, and hands were thrown up above their heads as everybody exclaimed their joy that the airplane had touched down.
This photograph was taken during the evacuation. 346 surviving passengers and crew get off the plane within 1 minute.
And people say, how in the world could everybody get off that quick? And I tell them we had a very highly motivated group of people.
A grinding noise woke me up. There was a bang and a flash. I looked up. The whole right-hand side of the business compartment had gone.
The sound of the explosion, the feeling of the explosion, and the violence of the explosion is awesome. And I hope none of you have to go through it.
It's a tragedy for the families of the 9 passengers who don't survive, and a trauma for the rest. But at least it's over.
So guys, as you see here in this example with United Flight 811, once the fuselage exploded, 9 passengers were sucked out of the plane. Nobody could do anything like tossing ball up and not feeling the effects of the wind blowing upon them, because they were no longer sealed and protected under the fuselage of the airplane. Now, this is where the problem with the globe starts, because they say we are spinning around the sun at the same time, spinning on its axis, the Earth is spinning on its axis, and nobody can feel anything. Let's look at this, like first grade geography, you see the globe there on the cover. Second grade, same thing, the globe on the cover of the book. Third grade, the same thing. And you can imagine 12 years listening to the same thing and seeing the same thing. It's like brainwashing. By the time you leave high school, you cannot think other way, you cannot think for yourself, because you have been brainwashed for 12 years with image of a globe and the same story being told over and over. They are totally different environments. The train, the bus, or the airplane is being contained inside, sometimes heavy fortification, difficult to penetrate, when Earth is just out there. There's nothing, no barrier between us and space. Rockets go in and out, and they want us to believe this is what's happening on Earth. As we see here, smoke arising from an object in motion, and you see like the train is moving forward. You see all the smoke being left behind. But look at this picture here, this volcano. The Earth is supposed to be spinning, and you see this smoke going straight up. Nothing like shows that the Earth is spinning at all. The Earth is flat and stationary. Another image, another video of a train. Moving forward, you see the smoke being left behind because of the movement of the train. And one more time, you see this volcano erupting, the smoke going straight up. No sign of motion from the Earth. Smoke rising from a motionless Earth. No sign at all the Earth is spinning or moving, going around the sun. One more time, another train coming, and the smoke being left, moving as the train moves forward. The smoke is left behind. But again, one more time here, another volcano erupting, and the smoke goes straight up. On Earth is not moving, that's why the smoke is rising up straight. We are not going anywhere. The Earth is not spinning. It's not going around the sun. It's not chasing the sun. So what is left for us? I mean, we have been brainwashed into believing this idea of a spinning globe going around the sun. It's a big lie. Now, sometimes people say, well, why are you mixing religion? Because a lot of people are doing this. They are lying, and they know they are lying. Now, what's the reason of the lie? Why are they lying? When the Bible says that the devil is the father of lies, and there is no truth in him, and those who lie are his children. So I want you, if you lie because you're getting paid for, remember that you're doing what your father does best, which is lie. So you are the children of the devil if you're doing this because you're getting paid for that. Now, if you have been deceived in the past, there's still time for you to open your eyes and understand that we live on a flat and stationary Earth. The Earth does not move. The sun and the moon circles around us, around and above Earth. It's not the other way around. What we have been told as children is a big lie, and we have to rethink the things that we once learned. We need to throw away all the garbage from the books, the school books, geography books, all the garbage that we learned when we were kids until young adults, and we have to renew our thoughts and understand that the Earth does not move. It has never moved and will never move. Whether you look at this as a religious matter or just what you can observe, the earth doesn't move. This is how it is. The objects move around us, above and around us. The earth is stationary. I do hope you guys can open your eyes and understand that we live on a flat, stationary earth, that we never moved and we never will, no matter how many people are telling you that the earth is spinning. It doesn't make it a lie truth just because billions of people are telling you. Some of them have been paid to do it. Some of them are, teachers and college professors. They make good salary, $40,000 a year, $55,000, $75,000 a year. They have been telling this for a long time. They have been brainwashed themselves. Some of them may have figured these things out already, but they are still blind, or they won't change their mind. They see no point in doing so because they're probably going to lose their jobs or something. But the reality is the earth does not move, has never moved and will never move. We live on a flat, stationary earth, and just as it is described in the book of Genesis. Okay guys, this is all for today. God bless you. And ladies, please don't lose your wigs due to the spin of the earth and due to the rotation of the earth around the sun. Hold on to that. Don't lose your wigs. God bless you. Bye-bye.